Wow, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up. If you believe polls, and trust me, I don't, I'm surging. I'm up 11 percentage points. Cuomo is down, and Mandami is crested over 50%. And I'm sure in the next 5 days we'll probably have 2 separate polls a day as they try to put their input in from soliciting voters. The best way to solicit voters is what I've been doing.
State officials are working around the clock to set up emergency food distribution centers and school meal programs to help families who will lose their federal nutrition benefits this weekend. A severe weather situation has developed across the tri-state region. Intense precipitation continues throughout the metropolitan area, creating hazardous conditions with submerged roadways and fallen timber. The duration of these conditions remains uncertain. Residents throughout the territory are experiencing significant impacts from the continuous downpour, beginning with observations from Brooklyn. Vehicles navigated through inundated thoroughfares. Multiple inches of precipitation have placed roads beneath water levels. Footage captured near Farragut Road.
Earlier today, meeting with NYCHA leaders in Harlem, where he also addressed the polls and record early voter turnout.
Seeing a record turnout. The turnout in early voting is setting an all-time record. They have never seen this volume of turnout, which is great. And it's all across the city. And I think the polls have no idea what they're talking about because they have never seen this kind of turnout before.
And Zora Mamdani campaigning at a senior center.
Additionally, within East Flatbush, timber collapsed onto a vehicle along the identical Farragut Road corridor. The tree was completely uprooted from its foundation. Attention shifts westward beyond the Hudson River to Roselle Park, New Jersey. Powerful gusts and heavy rainfall resulted in timber descending upon a residential structure. Meteorologist Liv Johnson provides updated forecasting information. The exterior
center in Brooklyn today, where he attended a paint and pour with the residents. He also addressed the polls.
Every day we wake up, we look at the polls. I was speaking to my mother this morning, and she was asking me, what do I make of all these polls? And I was telling her, the best thing to do right now is canvass. Is get out there and actually make the case to New Yorkers. Because polls give us a snapshot in time. It's great when there's a good one. It's, you know, we look past it when there's a bad one. But really, all they are a prediction.
According to
initial focus centers on a flash flood warning affecting New York City, portions of Nassau County, and sections of Westchester County. This warning remains active until 5:30. These warnings typically have shorter durations, though current rainfall intensity reaches peak levels. An aerial flood advisory covers multiple overlapping locations, including parts of Nassau County, extending into Bergen County, along with Rockland County and Westchester County again. A coastal flood advisory has remained in effect for multiple days, encompassing most of Long Island, Connecticut sections near the Bridgeport vicinity and the entire New Jersey coastline, including Ocean County, which operates under a coastal flood warning extending until 10 in the evening. The final advisory addresses wind conditions, notably extending beyond the current day into the following day as well. Substantial gusty conditions persist, continuing through Halloween festivities.
And cars made their way through flooded streets, several inches of rain putting the roads underwater. This video is in the area of Farragut Road in East Flatbush. Also in East Flatbush, a tree down on a car in the same Farragut Road area. You can see that tree got ripped up.
Current wind velocity measurements register approximately 10 to 20 miles per hour across most areas, though stronger readings appear in locations including East Hampton at 24 miles per hour and Bridgeport at 25 miles per hour, with gusts approaching 30 to 35 depending on specific locations. Wind gusts have fluctuated throughout the period, reaching 40 miles per hour earlier during the day, with similar conditions expected throughout the remaining evening hours and into the next day. Fortunately for Halloween activities, heavy precipitation similar to current conditions will not occur, though breezy conditions will persist through evening hours and into Saturday. During the remaining afternoon period, conditions show slight improvement, with rain becoming more scattered and lighter in intensity. However, further eastward on Long Island and throughout Connecticut sections, precipitation intensifies approaching dinner hours. All areas could still experience rainfall late into the night. At 11 in the evening, Precipitation continues across Long Island, while New York City remains affected, along with Connecticut sections and the Hudson Valley region. Complete clearing has not yet occurred, though conditions will dry by the following day, ensuring Halloween remains free from wet conditions experienced currently.
That's out there. We have so many advisories and alerts to get through, so I want to start with flash flood warning that we have in New York City, a little bit of Nassau County, and a little bit of Westchester County as well. This goes until 5:30. These are always a little bit shorter, but we're kind of in the heaviest of our rainfall situation right now. Then we have
Governor Kathy Hochul has issued a state of emergency as budget reductions endanger nutritional assistance for millions of New York residents. Benefits through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program face elimination beginning Saturday if governmental operations remain suspended. Reporter Haley Fixler provides additional details on this developing situation. Governor Hochul previously announced that tens of millions in funding would be allocated to provide meals for families once assistance benefits expire. The state of emergency declaration released brings additional resources, resulting in a combined total of $16 million funding 56 million meals. The monetary allocation.
An aerial flood advisory for a lot of places that kind of overlap as well. Parts of Nassau County, even into Bergen County. We have it again, Rockland County and Westchester County. Then we have a coastal flood advisory. This has been in effect for a couple of days, and this is most of Long Island, parts of Connecticut, the Bridgeport area, and then all down the shore.
This marks the first occasion where the state commits to covering morning and midday meals for public school students, with efforts underway to determine methods for sending additional provisions home with students. Governor Hochul reports that federal authorities informed her these actions cannot be reimbursed, though she considers this an ethical and moral imperative. 800,000 elderly individuals and nearly 1 million children are affected. This represents a historic situation, as this marks the first governmental operation suspension in history without accommodations for nutritional needs. Every previous suspension allowed for political positioning and various disruptions, including air traffic control issues causing flight delays, which proved painful yet manageable. Never before have officials literally decided to cease feeding American citizens. The funding distribution plan directs resources to food banks, pantries, and other distribution centers, with portions allocated.
It's our final advisory if we didn't have enough. We have a wind advisory, but notice it's not just through today, it's also through tomorrow. We have really gusty winds out there, and again, that's going to persist through Halloween as well. When we look at those current wind speeds, mostly about 10 to 20 miles per hour, but it is stronger for places like East Hampton, 24 miles per hour, Bridgeport, 25 miles per hour, gusting closer to 30 or 35, depending on where you are. We've been going in and out of these.
Leadership reports already witnessing increased demand, making this funding particularly helpful. Increased numbers appeared yesterday, representing the highest volume in 45 years of operation history, with 585 families served, which constitutes a significant daily total. Funding and assistance for food purchases remain essential needs. Governor Hochul emphasized this arrangement cannot continue sustainably for the state. Federal authorities provide the state approximately $650 million monthly, making the unlocked funding merely a small fraction of normal support. She appeals to lawmakers to conclude the governmental operation suspension immediately.
Afternoon, we do start to see things improve just a little bit. Rain becomes a bit more scattered, a little bit lighter, but further out on Long Island and parts of Connecticut, you can see it kind of picks up as we get into dinner time. And then all of us could still see some rain even late tonight. This is at 11 o'clock. We're still seeing some rain out on Long Island. New York City's not in the clear, parts of Connecticut, and then up into the Hudson Valley as well. So again, we're not in the clear yet, but things will dry up by the time we get to tomorrow. So your Halloween isn't going to be wet like today.
Election day approaches within days, as several new surveys provide perspective on the competition status this close to voting. According to polling from Emerson College, Zoran Mandani maintains a 25-point advantage over Andrew Cuomo. Mandani holds 50% of probable voters compared to Cuomo's 25%, and Republican Curtis Leewell's 21%. Another Survey from Marist University shows Mdani holding a 16-point lead over Cuomo. Siwa registers 16% of likely voters in this particular.
Money is going to be divided to go to food distribution centers and food banks. Hochul also says they're going to be looking at ways to use schools as a hub for food services. She says this is the first time that the state is now committing to cover breakfast and lunch for public school children, and they're now also working to figure out how to send extra food home with students. Hochul says that federal officials told her she can't do that and that the state will not be reimbursed for the money they're using for this, but she feels it's an ethical and moral issue.
His morning activities centered in Midtown, where he responded to recent polling data. The fluctuations show movement in both directions. Belief in polling data remains questionable. Current trends indicate an 11 percentage point surge upward, while Cuomo declines and Mdani exceeds 50%. Expectations suggest two separate surveys daily over the remaining 5 days as various entities attempt to influence voter perspectives. The most effective voter outreach method involves directing.
All right, so how is this going to work? We know that the money is going to be divided between food banks and pantries and other distribution centers, and some of the money will also go to a group that supplies agricultural products to these organizations. Leaders tell us they're already seeing an increased need, so this money is going to help.
We've seen more people. Yesterday, we saw more people than ever before in our 45-year history. 585 families, which is for us a large number for a day. So we will need funding. We will need help to be able to purchase food.
Andrew Cuomo joined Mayor Adams earlier during meetings with NYC leadership in Harlem, where he also commented on polling information and record early voter participation. Early voting turnout establishes unprecedented records, never previously witnessed in terms of volume, which represents positive development. The citywide pattern shows exceptional participation levels. Polling organizations appear uninformed because this turnout level exceeds all historical precedents. Zora Mamani conducted campaign. Daily routines include examining polling data. A morning conversation with his mother involved her questioning the significance of various polls. His response emphasized that the best current strategy involves direct voter contact through canvassing, making the case directly to New York residents. Polls provide temporal snapshots that appear favorable when positive and less relevant when negative, ultimately serving as predictions only. New York City Board of Elections data indicates more than 372,000 voters participated in early voting. For continued coverage of the New York City mayoral competition, programming titled Battleground NYC, The Fight for Your Vote, hosted by Scup Streams, weeknight at 7 in the evening, and broadcasts on Fox 5, weeknights at 11 in the evening. Optimism exists today regarding the potential avoidance of school bus driver shortages that could affect thousands of students. More than half of the city's school bus companies have committed to postponing workforce reductions. A 5-year contract extension has been established between vendors and municipal authorities, though the panel for education policy must still provide approval. The panel was scheduled to vote on the extension yesterday, but postponed action until November 19th. The panel desires input from the incoming mayoral administration regarding the agreement. Education